An Insider's History of Maine Maritime Museum and its Collections. The First 20 Years by Dr. Charles E. Burden. Preface. William Newell Peat Guild, grandson of William S. Peat Newell, who revived the Bath Iron Works during the Depression and guided the shipyard through its magnificent performance during World War II and beyond, was my youngest brother David's best friend from grammar school, until David's untimely death a little more than 20 years ago. Pete, after moving back to West Bath in 2005, became enamored with Maine Maritime Museum, as his parents had been, partly because he was interested in boats and maritime history in general, and partly because MMM exhibited, even if in a somewhat inadequate way, the importance of BIW to the local economy and the maritime history of the United States. Peat Guild spent much time taping, editing, and transcribing my rants over more than 2 years, from fall 2010 to spring 2013, resulting in this early history of the institution. Had he not instigated recording my recollections and been willing to make a first draft to compensate for my hunt and peck computer skills, this first-person history would never have been recorded. I researched minutes from MMM board meetings from the first one up to the end of 1982 and lists of donations to collections up to more recent times to add to my recollections for this history. Opinions expressed are mine, though I have tried to point them out when there were significant differences from others. When I reviewed the text below, it sounded like a puff piece, looking like the museum would never have reached its current status regarding collections in the Percy and Small shipyard had I not been there to promote it. Actually, that may be true, but it would never have happened either without the generosity of hundreds of volunteers and many donors of funds, property, and artifacts. My involvement is dwarfed by the enthusiastic participation of so many others. Prelude. Mark W. Hennessy was hired as the first Bath reporter for Portland Press Herald and Sunday Telegram at the age of 20 in 1925. He was a Bath native with an inquisitive nature and considerable pride in his hometown. It was predictable that he would develop an interest in the area's amazing maritime heritage. When not meeting deadlines for current news, Mark spent many hours interviewing people who had been part of that heritage. He also utilized the Bath Daily Times morgue, making notes from pertinent articles from newspapers published during the Age of Sail. Mark frequently wrote engaging feature articles for the Portland papers on varying aspects of this history. He was also involved in the formation of a short-lived maritime museum in Bath's City Hall in 1936, which failed for lack of committed leadership. In 1937, he was commissioned by the shipbuilding Sewell family to write Sewell Ships of Steel, a book about the family's unique fleet of steel sailing ships. By 1962, Hennessy had decided that he would like to retire and write a definitive maritime history of the area. In order to provide himself with some income while doing so, he applied to the Davenport Trust, which advised him to form a non-profit so they could donate to it, and the non-profit could in turn hire him to do the work. Thus, through his instigation, the Marine Research Society of Bath was created. Now tax-deductible donations could be made for the purpose of writing such a history. He selected the following, all Bath residents, to make up a board of directors for the society: Donald N. Small, former mayor of Bath and son of Frank Small, partner in the Percy and Small shipyard; Sumner Sewell, former governor of Maine and son, grandson, and great-grandson of the heads of that family's shipbuilding and fleet management enterprises; Thatcher B. Pinkham, former general manager of BIW's Liberty shipbuilding operation in South Portland during World War II; Frank A. Given, paymaster at Bath Iron Works; Duncan McInnes, a second-generation BIW manager and son-in-law of Archibald M. Maine; VP of BIW under Pete Newell, Rodney E. Ross, Jr., legislator and principal owner and president of Hyde Windlass Company, ship machinery manufacturers; Donald A. Spear, local attorney and great-grandson of Bath shipbuilder Benjamin F. Packard. On November 13, 1962, these corporators met at the office of Attorney Spear and signed Articles of Association, written by Mr. Spear under the direction of Mark Hennessy,